Y'all, what is good? What is poppin'? I'm so glad y'all are here to talk to me, to chop it up. As you can see in the title, we're going to be talking about The Circle. It is back for its fifth season. So we're just going to slide through just a couple of things going on in episodes 1 through 4 that just dropped this previous Wednesday. Y'all, I'm too hype. I'm too excited. I absolutely love this show, and I could not wait till a new season came so I can go ahead, give my commentary, give my opinion, give my little 2 cents, give my thoughts. So welcome to Ash Recaps. Of course, I'm your girl Ash. So I hope you stick around here. To my oldies but goodies, you already know what time it is. Sit back, relax. Let's get all into this. So y'all, first off, the season is popping off like real fast, like real going on. And with it being like so many people, so many things going on, your girl just, I gotta keep some notes going on to keep up with what's going on. It's so many people. I'm mixing up people's names, whatever. But like this is what's basically going on. Everything is like just happening so fast. I think of course, they try to make things interesting, keep things, real juicy for us as every season like comes along. So it seems like that everybody is, we don't have really lot of catfish like going on. Everybody seems to be like more or less, most of the people, I guess I'll say, is playing themselves, or they're playing themselves, or they're playing themselves as really their true selves, or they're playing themselves as, but they're like occupation. They're lying about their occupation, changing up their occupation, whatever. And then ratings are happening like they did not waste no time. They literally just like got 8 people in the chat, and then boom, in the circle, and was like boom, y'all now got to know each other. Now y'all about to go ahead and rate each other and get somebody is getting up out of here. But not one, y'all, not one. They were taking out two. But the circle. The circle gonna have its like little twists and turns with it. So let's just talk about the people. Let's just talk about the cast. So first coming in, because they like start off with like just 4 before they brought in like the 4-8. So it was Raven, who's, I guess legally deaf or whatnot. ASL is her main, language. And she came in with an interpreter, Paris or whatever or whatnot. So they cute or whatever. She's definitely, so far, I think she's gonna be like a fan fave for sure. Brett came in, who definitely seemed like in the beginning that he was going to be a fan fave too. I do believe he was coming in basically as like his total self. And I think he said he came from like the brother and he came like 6th. But I guess he has some misconceptions about him, and he not even gonna, be all that. So there's Xanthi, who's like, really, she seems like a sweet girl going in as herself, but she is lying about her occupation. She's really a model, but since models don't seem to really do good in the circle, she decides that she's going to be a preschool teacher. Like, girl, you not even giving out preschool teachers anything. I'm like, you are just too darn cute. But hey, you know what? It's not even to say that it's not some cute preschool teachers, out there. She just not giving preschool teacher. I just feel like if there was another occupation she could have went with, that's probably like, should have been it. And then one more person. Who are we missing? Ashley. Just, look at the good old notes. Brit. Okay, y'all, so there's Brittany. And Brittany is really Brian. Brian is like a 40-something-year-old dad, also a grandpa. I do believe he said he was 40. And he's playing his daughter, Brittany. I'm not feeling Brittany off the gate. I'm like, nope. It's given somewhat pedophile-ish. I don't know why. It's just weird, especially with the group that it's in. Everybody's just like sick. It's not in the sick because he's older, because some older people who have came in the chat have really like, worked some over. So it's not even that. I just knew that he just was not gonna fit. And something told me that he was going to be figured out very much immediately. There was nothing in me that felt like he was really going to be able to channel a 27-year-old girl, let alone at that. Like, you tried it. I don't want to jump the gun, but it was like, I get it, like what it was for, like why you were doing it, but you ain't doing a good job. You ain't doing a good job. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't mean to jump ahead. But so they got in the circle chat, you know, and the whole group, and were really like hitting it off in the beginning. Brett was the only guy, basically. So everybody was really like hitting it off with him, getting along, you know, they're flirting with him like low key. You know, he seemed to be like really like standing his own. But when some of the other cast members started to come in, some of the other circle members started to come in, oh boy started to like float in the back, like started to like disappear. So as they're all, you know, getting to know each other, like I said, four more people, you know, is coming in the chat. There's Fine Marvin, who's, you know, Nigerian. He fine, but at the same time, it's like it's something about him that's just like Marvin. I don't know, like it's something that just ain't clicking. Like I want to call him ditzy because I don't know if guys can be ditzy, but it's like, but he's a chemical engineer. So it's like the boy is smart. The boy is clearly smart. Like one thing about people who come that are not from the US, when they come over, or they're gonna come over here and they're gonna make something of themselves. They're gonna use this good old stuff that we got over here. They don't have the privilege to have over they're gonna come and make something. They're gonna come over here and make something for themselves, okay? So he's a chemical engineer, but he wants to, I guess, dumb himself down actually and decide to go in as a model. And he's talking about he don't work out like that, but boy is buff. Boy is big. Like I think he had messaged Brett and they would talk about he was ripped. Nah, bruh. You're ripped. You look good. You look fine. Like, okay. So of course immediately, like I'm actually was thinking that Marvin was going to possibly like go for Xanthi, but actually like he is like going, you know, going for our girl Raven or whatever or whatnot. But either way, so let's talk about everybody else is coming in the chat. So Marvin's coming in the chat, Bruno's coming in the chat. Bruno is a catfish. Bruno is being played by Bruno is really, what was her name? Billie Jean, and Billie Jean is really, Bruno is her brother or whatever. She's still playing a model or whatever, but I was like, I didn't really see it. I didn't really, even though she was like giving like even more than Brett, it was like, nah, I feel like at some point they might see through you. Like it's not fully completely there. I think even Brittany was actually, oh yeah, because yes, Brittany is supposed to be AKA Brian. It's supposed to be a, you know, a world renowned, that's not what I mean, but basically like just a great catfish catcher, even though he's a catfish himself. So how can you be a catfish catcher if you can't even keep up with what's going on? When you're not even trying to, like, you're not doing the job. You're not doing the work, sir. But he did suspect on top that Bruno was a catfish. And by he, I mean she, because we're talking about Brittany, aka Brian. So what's that? That's Marvin. That was Bruno in the chat. Oh, okay. I love her. I love Sam. I'm loving Sam. She's coming in as herself, makeup artist. You know, I think she's got to be like Puerto Rican or something like that. She's super spicy. Like she's coming in giving. She came in giving in the chat. And I was like, what did I actually miss? And even after going back, I was like, what was the disconnect? Okay, before I even get there, the last person that we didn't talk about yet was Chaz. Chaz as well is definitely going to be, Sam and Chaz I feel like as well could be possibly be like some fan favorites, you know, as well. Chaz goes by Shampoo Poppy. He owns his own car detailing, you know, business, but he's going in as a nurse. And he went to nursing school, but he just not necessarily didn't finish. So it's like it's a lie, but it's not a full-on lie. Because at least if like he tested on it, he definitely probably gonna know, you know, what he talking about. And so yo, it really pops off when they get in the circle chat again as a group. But that's what I was talking about, where Brett was not, I don't know, he was just falling back in like everybody, and I get it, it's so much going on, everybody's da-da-da. But even Brittany, like, even that was able to give a little something to, remain noticed. Bruno able to give a little something to remain noticed. Brett, and then of course by the time it's over, boom. That's it. And what's baby girl name? Sam had noticed that he had kind of like not really been in, so that had kind of like picked up on her radar, and then it kind of showed as well that it might have picked up on some other people's radar too, or whatever or whatnot, right? So y'all, it was like right after they're literally in the chat getting to know each other. Now it's 8 the players that's sitting in, and boom, ratings. Y'all have to rate each other. I was like, wait, what? And then, of course, like, one of the things that I hate, y'all, is, right, like, these seasons be too spaced out. So I be trying to think about it and compare them to other seasons. So if y'all remember, too, was the last season, was there a rating so early? I kind of feel like there was, but at the same time, I'm like, like, dang, was it? So either way, it's like super crazy how like this game like really like plays on like your emotions, and immediately just like who do you just immediately connect with? Who do you just immediately bond with just off of what you see in a profile and what you're getting off of somebody in a chat? Like, it's like low key, I wouldn't mind like getting in on this experience. Like, this shit like just seems crazy. But okay, y'all, let's move on, because I hope y'all just sitting back. Y'all just need to get some popcorn, like, because we might be here or whatever. So just make sure you drop it down in the comments below, and make sure you like this video. Of course, y'all definitely have to do that to help your girl out, support your girl. Definitely do that. And of course, like I said, drop some comments about what y'all feel, what y'all got going on about this, about what we got going on right now. So after they did the ratings, they, played like a get to know you game or whatever or whatnot. And one thing about the circle, they always going to, any game or anything that they do is always going to, try to, in some way, set you up to kind of like have you look a certain way, or, telling something about, like, basically, in a way, it's going to have your other circle mates are going to have a view of you and who you supposedly are. So they played this get to know you game, a little frisky, little shady questions or whatever or whatnot. Like, I think one of the questions was like, oh, like, have like about in relationships, and the questions was about cheating, never cheated more than this. Raven and Sam were like the only people who admitted to actually cheating, while everybody else like put never cheated. Like, really? Like, come on, don't try to do that. Like, I give them at least for being honest. Sam even took it to the whole next level and cheated more than twice. So you know what, girl? Do your thing. Whatever. We grown. Why we gotta lie? Like, it's up. It's whatever. So I respect them for that. And oh yeah, that was the other one. It was like it was the question about would you like rather, and it was like popular, successful, happy. And it was like something else or whatever or whatnot. And while everybody had chose off like successful, no, everybody had chose happy. And poor little Xanthi though, like at the same time, like even though she's like clearly like has dark hair, she clearly had like was in her room, have like a full on blonde moment. Because I'm like, sis, like what do you mean? You just what like she was just thinking like the back and forth. Well, if I'm here, if I'm doing this, and I'm already happy, and da. So I think she was just thinking too much into it. So this game really, I don't really feel like really did much as far as like, while in the moment, I think it was just like, wait, what? Like, why did she choose that? But I don't think it really did much as far as how they were looking at each other. And either way, at this point, like the ratings were already in, so it wasn't even like this game even influenced even further where they were, in the ratings. So everybody's, forming their own bonds, getting to know each other, and boom, it was time for the block. And basically, how they switched it up here. Again, was this a switch up or was this new? I feel like this was new. Either way, it surprises me and it gets me hyped and it gets my adrenaline going. It gets my heartbeat going every time like it plays out. So they had to put who they would block publicly out to the entire group. And then the people who were actually the influencers, whoever they would have blocked, is the people who have gotten blocked, who would get blocked. And mind you, we're blocking two people. We have two influencers, 1 and 2. But usually they meet up and they go and they block one person. But over time period, they've started to change how that first block, goes. So they Raven became an influencer. She was number 1, and Chaz was influencer number 2. Raven decided to block Brett, and Chaz had decided to block Xanthi. And y'all, if Brett was not so butthurt about his block, I do believe Sam had blocked him too. Because like I said, she was already looking at him like, where was he like in the chat? Like I think Sam, he was so butthurt. He just took it so personally. And he knew that he wasn't very interactive in that moment. So you got to understand where these people are coming from. Like you said, it happened so quick. You're judging off of literally the first reaction, first day of getting to know these people, and they're going off that. And she's like, well, everybody else was talking, you weren't talking, so yeah, you're gonna be that way. Y'all, the boy is so butthurt, and it's really showing out in his game, even so further on. So boom, they're blocked. But of course, because last season, they really shook up the game with having people come in. And no, I don't think it was last season. It might have even actually been 2 seasons ago. If this is 5, they might have actually initiated this in season 3 maybe. But basically, where somebody actually gets there, where somebody that might have been already in the game is playing a catfish that they're choosing a picture of and things like that. But they just get to put the bio, the personality, and all that kind of thing behind it. So while everybody is thinking that they're going to get to meet somebody, each they get to go, see somebody, per regular routine, they actually end up meeting each other and are now finding out that they are going to be playing a older woman or whatever or whatnot, named Jen. I think Jen is her name or whatever, whatnot. Y'all, talk about how things really just start to get juicy from here, right? So right now that we kind of got all the key players in here, we're gonna try to move things along. Y'all here though, y'all here with me. Come on, drop these comments. Let me know what y'all thinking. I'm here for it. I love to talk to y'all. And yeah, had a slight bit of technical difficulty with the iPad, went a little dead, but it's all right. It's all right. We came back. We're back. So y'all, left off with the ratings. Like I said, Brett and Xanthi were eliminated, but they're coming back as a catfish, who's Jennifer, who's a 50-some-odd-year-old woman who's basically a cougar. She's kind of hot, she's spicy, great personality, so whatever. My immediate fear was that they are really going to be able to play this lady. I pray they're going to suspect something. No, they're really really playing her. So like I said, Brett completely butthurt. I know he's going to be so ready to, come back for everybody who had, voted him or would have blocked him. While, Xanthi's whatever is cool. In her exit interview, she's it's whatever. It was great. She went out with style. She went out with grace. While Brett was really over here butthurt, taking it so personal that he was already being, eliminated. And I knew, obviously that's gonna be included in how they play their game. So as they're coming in as well, and so is another player, Tom, who I definitely feel could possibly be another fan favorite. I'm a big fan of Tom. I love him. I love anything UK or anybody, even though Bruno's not really doing it for me. Sorry, Billie Jean, you're not really doing it for me, but Tom is killing it. Tom is definitely killing the game. So all in all, like I said, even after all that, they had, they still showed the actual ratings. And obviously we know who the influencers are, but Sam actually came last in the chat, even though it seemed like she was kind of like really like kicking it up with everybody, when she came in with, the rest of the remaining of the other 3 people to make it 8 people. So boom, like her coming in last, she was butthurt about it. She mainly knew that Marvin was the one who had to vote her last. So she wanted to like, obviously chop it up with him. And I was like, why did Marvin like, but remember he was like, oh, her pictures seem sketchy. They seem filterish. I think basically that she's a catfish. So they seem to have like formed a bond. It's like now everybody is like really like forming these bonds. Like Jen is coming in. Like I said, Jen and Tom, came in as new players and are really hitting it off in the group. They're like really hitting it off. Tom being a comedian and he's supposed to be like an honorable. So like he said, if like a whole Armageddon type situation happens, is the only way that he would be like have to step up to the throne. But he's basically like in line because his dad does something with the crowns and blah blah blah. Like, okay, like we got it, Tom. You that guy. You're definitely that guy. And he is like everybody's like really liking him, really hitting it off with him. And so at the same time, of course, more games. And in that game, people got to choose to go on a date. And so being smart, being strategic, I think Jen wins the game and she chooses to take Tom on the date with her. And they had this flirty, cougar, hot talk. But it was just smart. It was just smart thinking, being that they came in the game together, they can both like, build like that alliance together and like be on the same team. And they immediately both like had the same idea, hit it off, and both basically decide that Tom's gonna go find out some information, and so is Jen, who again is Brett and Xanthi. So basically, Tom ends up going and talking to the guys. Jen ends up going and talking to the girls. And really, they're just chopping it up about the date and who everybody is like interested in, and all this. Because again, now, all these forms are really starting to build up. People are really starting to like each other as far as like physically, all that other type of stuff like that. So, that's all that stuff is going to start like now fully affecting these ratings and what these ratings are going to look like. So it's obviously again it's already seeming it's getting more and more suspicious of Brittany or whatever or whatnot. And then I think I want to say it was Chaz who slid a little something to Sam, letting her know that it could either be Marvin or it could be Bruno that might be possibly even looking at you. But mind you, also, what was her name? Raven made it very clear. She made it very clear to all the girls that she's staking her claim. And so it's kind of like, you're showing your hand. So it does allow people to, know like mess your game. So I get it though, like if y'all really try to make that connection, whatever, but that's really how they can really start to, you'll know everybody's game. Well, everything seems cute, everything seems whatever. Y'all think y'all having girl talk, but these are the things that they are going to be trying to be using against you in your game or whatever or whatnot. And Brittany is just not doing like a good job, y'all. Like, first off, I think, am I jumping the gun? Or even though if I'm not jumping the gun, I'm gonna go ahead and jump on this. So she's just not doing a good job in her game. It's the 3rd episode for her to finally get her first group chat. Private chat. First off, as you're over here, talk about you catch catfish, why are you not out here reaching out and creating chats? And then you're wondering why you're looking like people calling you out in games. So they had played another game in which she was deemed most annoying. And what was the other one? She was most annoying and she was most boring. Nobody's hearing from you. Nobody's talking from you. And while I say that, they're really, it's like, and they do it so well with Jen. Brett and Xanthi are really carrying this. It's like Xanthi kind of like has the voice, like she can like say, she knows the right things to say. But Brett, on the other hand, because I did kind of feel like Xanthi is like really carrying it majority, but Brett does kind of like have like the brains behind it of like who to reach out to, how to figure out this, like how to figure out that. And he was really able to pick up on this person. The pictures is not just matching with the words in the conversation. Like highly, suspectable. We're keeping an eye on her. Like it's reason why she's being like pointed out like this. Like she is like, baby, there's no reason by third episode you're just now getting your first chat and like private chat. Okay, fine if you're getting your first private chat, but you should be trying to reach out to like, how are you thinking that you're going to be doing something if you're not putting yourself out there? But you're just physically, you're out of touch. You're out of touch here, Brian. This just wasn't it for you, and you're doing a bad job, and you really can't take offense to how everybody's seeing that. It's suspect. It's suspect, my brother. So let me catch y'all. Let me look at my notes, see where I'm at here. Right. Tom and Jen are forming an alliance. The Melanin Group, Raven, Marvin, Chaz, like they're, forming an alliance. Like I said, so y'all know once these alliances really start forming, like that's really going to start playing out, and like they're voting. And when the ratings did come, it came to a moment where Chaz was trying to figure out like how, if depending on how I vote, how is that going to impact? Because yet again, they ended up being influencers for the second time. So this time Chaz was first and Raven was second. And I knew immediately, like, all right, this is where, people start to get threatened and they got to start, like throwing rocks in your game, throwing glass in your game and start messing your game up. So they got rated, the top. Yes. From that game, I was really surprised. Brittany was at the bottom again, and actually Sam had actually moved up. Sam had actually moved up to 3, which was good, which is definitely looked like, she was definitely wondering like why she had been so low in the rating. So whatever she was doing in that meantime, she was definitely helping and building up those connections. But Bruno also, though, was at second to last. He was at 5. And when he was having the guys chat with the guys, which were straight guy chat. And I was like wondering, like, Billie Jean don't really look like she can keep up with this. Billie Jean don't really look like she can keep up with this guy chat. Now, she managed to hold her own. She managed to hold her own somehow and in some way. But it looked like she could possibly struggle with playing, this whole, guy thing. I'm honestly surprised and like shocked that she's standing this long. That I felt like, I think Brittany, aka Brian, was the only person who might have suspected something from Bruno. I don't think anybody else is suspecting that Bruno is a catfish, like at all. Like they're seeing like right through it. And I'm like, Bruno is not too far from Brittany, but maybe. I don't think necessarily though that they think that he's a catfish. I just don't think that he's really building those connections like that or whatever or whatnot. I don't think nobody is really, suspecting him. So yet again, another twist. So in this rating, the influencers had to choose to save a person, and then the last 2 people who were not saved would be up for, elimination to leave the circle. So of course, Chaz was like, that's where Chaz was like worried, like, okay, if I choose to save somebody else, is she going to vote like this? Is she going to vote like this? But ultimately, he built a relationship with Sam and had decided to go ahead and save Sam. And then ultimately, like, for a second, I actually thought that Raven was not going to pick Marvin, just on how like she was debating and thinking about it. I actually thought that, she actually might have chosen somebody else, but she did not. She chose Marvin. And I'm like, that is the thing about this, is like you put yourself out there, you possibly show who you're working with or who like you're the most closest to, and that puts a target on your back. Them already being influencers again puts a target on their back. But for some reason, it's more easier for them to go at Raven, like the dislike, and it's kind of like, okay, I know why Brett is mad at Raven, but at this point, why are you necessarily Xanthi going after Raven? Outside of the fact, I guess you're just supporting, you're now partner here, and like y'all are really going hard for my girl. They played another game where they had like set up little profiles or whatever for each other. And of course, the only people who got like bad profiles was Brittany. Okay, obviously just about her. Clearly they was already suspecting her, but then Raven. But I was not surprised. I knew, like, they know what they be doing. We ain't gonna act like this is not TV, y'all, but we know this TV. But these producers knew, especially with the animosity that Brett got going for Raven right now. They knew that setting them to do Raven's profile was really going to they were going to do her in, and they did. The thing is, though, I think everybody see through it. I think everybody sees through it that clearly she's a threat. You know, everybody is doing everybody else's profile. So while I get it, they're trying to throw the game off. I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work. But you just never know. Things can really like change up in this game. And from what it's seeming like, even coming up, we're having Shabam, I think it's what was his name, like Shabam, like coming in. Obviously we're going to get like more players, new players. Obviously, what do you do when it's at the end? Like both, of course, I'm jumping like all the way to like what's going to be happening next Wednesday, but of course, Bruno runs to Chaz, and Chaz is like, forget all this nice talk. Like, what do you have? It's time to open up, if not other time to open up, and so we can like really, I can figure out and try to have a way to save you. But then, of course, Brittany runs to Raven, and so they're in there in the chat trying to basically save the person who came to talk to them. But ultimately, Brittany ended up being that person. I feel like we really didn't know like who ended up ultimately just being that, what that reason was ultimately what it came down to for why it ended up being Brittany. But Brittany was eliminated. I think it was just, yeah, it just needed to happen. Brian was just not doing it. He was not doing it at all. Like I said in the very, very beginning, I appreciated his why, him doing it for his daughter and his granddaughter, whatever. But bruh, even for you to call yourself like a catfish catcher, the ultimate catfish catcher, you didn't do a good job with that, sir. It didn't happen. It wasn't it. It wasn't it. I'm really excited to see how they're going to play Shabam in this. I think it's Shabam, right? Him being the first player to win this show. And oh my gosh, yes, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all like this video. I hope y'all interact with this video. Comment down below. Definitely give me a couple of likes, and I will be here next week, of course, to talk about the next 4 episodes. And peace, y'all. I'll see y'all later. Check out a couple of other videos. Check out my other recaps. You know, just stick around with your girl. I also have a vlog channel. So if you like me enough already, you definitely want to go and check that out. Subscribe to that channel as well. Subscribe to this one. And yeah, peace, y'all.